Hi kids! I'm so excited I finally got to meet you and talk with you online, and now is our first assignment. So every week you're going to have a video like this to view, and I'll walk you through your project step by step, and it shouldn't take longer than 30 minutes to do the whole thing. And if it does for you, if you want to do more details or go above and beyond, you're going to just have to stop, and then at the end of the day you can go ahead and get back to it. So today our assignment was inspired by my thinking about how am I going to get to know these kids online? How am I going to get to know who they are and what they're like? So I was going through my family album looking at some pictures, and I saw this picture of my son Arvo when he was 3 years old, and he said, "Look, Ma, handprints." Now what he had discovered when I gave him some chalk was that chalk is fun to draw with, but he discovered that when he put it in water it made like a paint, and that he could put his hand in that paint and make prints. And he made prints all around the backyard, and he was so excited and thrilled that he was able to discover this. And I think that's what art's about, making discoveries and having those moments where you're just so excited about something and you want to make something. So I was thinking about handprints, and I thought, you know what, this is a common theme throughout time with people. So if I look at this image, this is from a place in Utah near Newspaper Rock State Park. These are handprints. I think there are about 8 of them that were created on this rock face. These Native Americans would put their hands on the rock, and then in their mouth they would crunch up some like sand and some water, and then they would spit through a straw, and they would paint their hand at the same time. They would create the outline of their hand. So they're using the negative space to show where their hand was at. Now this one, we're going to go ahead in history a little bit. This is M.C. Escher. He did a lot of work in the 1950s. He was also a mathematician. He liked to do optical illusions in his art. So if you stare at this one for a while, it might get a little confusing. But I remember this picture often because when I was little, somebody told me that if you could figure out how to draw a realistic hand, you were a pretty good artist. And so it was something I practiced a lot. So, what is our project? How am I going to get to know you through your hand? Well, I've got mine that I made already. So I outlined my hand. Now you're going to do the same thing. I'll show you how to do it. I'll give you some tips. But in each finger, you're going to put one thing that you like to do that you want me and your classmates to know about you. So when you come back to our next Google Meet, you can share this, and we will know a little bit more about you. So I chose 5 things: art, hiking, gardening, taking trips, biking, and of course my family. And you've got to have your name on there somewhere. For me, I wanted it to be like a watch or a bracelet on my wrist, so I put it right there. So are you guys ready to get started? Let me show you how to do this. Let's go. First thing I want you to do is find a blank sheet of paper. It could be copy paper, anything you have in your house, just a blank sheet. I don't want this to be a horizontal paper. I don't want it going this way. I would like the paper to be vertical, so going up and down on your table. Once you are ready with your paper, you'll need a pencil, an eraser. If you have these, that's great. If you don't, use what you can find. That's what I would recommend. And then for me, I'm going to use crayons, but the colored pencils would also work really well with this assignment. Again, if you don't have either of those, we use what we find, and we're good with that. It's about making and having a creative experience and not missing out on that. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take, if you have someone in your house who can help you trace your hand, call them over, have them help you trace your hand. But we're going to give you some tips on how to do that. First off, your hand, you don't want to have it right at the bottom of the paper. Don't want the hand in the middle of the paper. I would like it to fill up as much space as possible. So I'm going to put my hand towards the top. And then I'm going to go ahead and when I trace or have my friend trace my hand, I'm going to have the pencil perpendicular to the paper, so straight up and down. I'm going to start at the bottom. I'm going to try to keep it a continuous line. And please, whatever you do, do not have that pencil go underneath your fingers here. Now once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and figure out firstly, where is my name going to go? So I'm going to turn it this way because I think I want my name to go down my arm. I think in my example, I had it as a bracelet. You can see that. But I think on this one, I'm going to have it go down my arm. Now, if you're not good with block letters, that's okay. Write your name however you want. If you want to try doing block letters, great. If you are great at it, show off. Do your best work. Show us what you can do. If you're not comfortable doing that, that's fine. We want you to do your best whatever you are. Wherever you're at, that's great. Let's just have a creative experience, a good time. So, I'm going to use my nickname sometimes that kids call me Mrs. Van because they can't remember the Van Alstyne part. So I'll just do that. If you have a nickname, you can use that. So once my name is there, I'm going to figure out what each of my fingers is going to have in it because those are the 5 things I want people to remember about me. So, I gave you options. I said you could write it, you could draw it. I think this time I'm going to maybe do some drawings. Okay, so I've got my 5 things that I like in each of my fingers. Now, I can do one huge one here in the middle like I did on my example of my family because that's really the most important to me. And so I can do that here in the middle. So, your choice on how you want to fill in that space. Now with that, I can go ahead and I can start coloring. So like I said, if this is as far as you get and it's 30 minutes and you need to move on to your next project, that's fine. You can stop right here. You don't need to color. You could color later, or maybe you just bring your drawing to class next week. But I want you to get as far as you can in that 30 minutes. So if you get to the coloring part, great. It's good. If you don't, we'll have probably some time next week to add some color because we're going to do the background next week. That's what we're going to focus on. Alright, so I finished coloring this one. I think I still like my other one a lot better, but it's done and it's ready to go. I filled in my space. I have my 5 different things that I love, that I want people to know about me. My name is clearly there. My hand is at the top of the paper. And if you have all those things, you know what? You are ready for next week. And I want you to bring this to class ready to go for part 2 of this assignment. All right, we'll talk to you later.